Hi, everyone. It's Nicole. I'm back again with Positive Impact for Mind and Body. I'm your psychic trainer and owner of Mind Body Mastery. And I've been giving psychic readings and healing. I'm also a Reiki master for over 30 years. So here's the thing. If you are suffering from weight gain, if you suffer from inflammation, and or are maybe depressed or suffering from pain, here's the thing. The secret is in your cells. And when I say it's not in the way that you would think, what I'm talking to or referring to is there's a lot of talk about, talking yourself healthy and, or maybe from the other direction, like, your health is in your DNA. What I have found to be particularly interesting is how often people ask me, okay, so, I've got this information about my DNA and I am now, talking to myself daily, telling myself, I'm going to lower my blood pressure and I'm going to lose weight. I'm losing weight even as I speak, and all these wonderful affirmations and people, having epiphanies about different ways to word things and in the present moment. And I'm right there along with you. I would be the first person to say, speak this affirmation. I was teaching these things not only maybe 5 years ago. The thing that I found interesting was that, like the study that I had pointed out a few weeks ago, they discovered that affirmations and mantras really only work for people who already have self-confidence, who already felt pretty good about themselves, or who already, expressed a sense of self-love. So then you have to go back and say, well, how did I start feeling badly about myself to begin with? And I struggled with that for a long time. I really went back and forth, and I discovered that a lot of the people that were saying the mantras, all the people that you see go to gyms every week, all the people that you see commit to a diet every week or commit to a pain management program every week, there's already a level of trust or a belief in themselves that they can do these things. But what happens when you have someone who doesn't believe in themselves, who doesn't have that sense of self-confidence and self-love, to really take hold of a mantra and like say, work on me, make this work for me, make it a viable part of my reality? What happens with those people? And I find this over and over and over again, that sometimes people will say, oh, I started doing this exercise or this thing to alleviate the pain in my back. I've just gotten away from it, so I have to get back into it so I can alleviate the pain in my back. So, or someone who just lost weight, same story. I lost 30 pounds, I've gained 15 back, but I just have to get back on my diet. Here's the problem I have with these things. Each time you do that thing that supports yourself, yes, it's working, but the fact that you have to repeat it alone tells you something, doesn't it? Anyone feel the same way? This is something that I've observed over 30 years of working with people with weight problems. I've also helped people coming out of rehab. I've worked with physical therapists, and what seems to kind of really ring in my ears is that if we've done such a great job, us personal trainers and physical therapists and dietitians and, even psychologists and that kind of a therapy, if we've done such a great job, would they really need us ever again? And this is the issue that I have, is that we should be building therapies that don't require people to repeat them over and over and over again in order to start to change the subconscious mind. So here's the revelation. This is what I came up with and I found very effective, was we need to identify the subconscious belief or understanding that is impacting our ability to be pain-free. We need to identify that subconscious block that's inhibiting us from perfect weight health. we need to identify that thing within us that doesn't believe that we are capable of living a healthy, balanced, happy lifestyle in a pain-free environment. So that was the first piece of, that's why I talk about the subconscious mind so much, because I've seen it at work over and over and over again, how it has consistently undermined people's goals for whatever they want to accomplish in their lives. So that's the first thing. Let's find out what the subconscious belief that's holding you back. Let's figure that out first. The second thing is, what do you do when you finally figure out what the subconscious belief is? Popular thought, there's a very huge group of people. Popular theory, the secret is to hold that image in your mind. And I just heard another professional talk about this recently on a podcast. Hold your goal in your mind and repeat it over and over and over again, and then add emotion to it and get excited about it. That's beautiful. That's a beautiful thing. But then you still have this subconscious issue. So what do you do with the subconscious issue that observes what you really want? What is the subconscious issue that's saying you don't have it, you don't express it, you don't really believe in it, and no matter how much you talk to me about it, this belief that you're a millionaire, that you're thin and at a healthy weight, and that you're pain-free, this just sounds like BS, right? Because the subconscious mind is the reality. That's what you have already experienced as your reality. You haven't experienced this yet as your reality. So the second piece of this isn't to start embedding your brain with affirmations and confirmations and mantras and treasure maps. That's all good if you've already experienced your goal at some point in your life. There's some belief in you that realizes you can replicate that again. But when there's a subconscious mind or a belief or an emotion that doesn't believe in the goal, that doesn't attach itself, it can't relate to, it is not going to allow it to happen. Period. End of story. So what I love about all these positive affirmation thinkers and people who change your subconscious mind with these thoughts and these things, and it's not going to work, and it hasn't historically worked. What it does, those types of theories and practices, it does instill hope. It does make us hopeful and give us something for our mind to focus on, which is extremely important, no doubt about it. But like I said before, if you haven't experienced that as your reality, that goal as your reality at some point, even on a small level, So if you want to win, in the Olympics, and you've never run a race in your life, do you think that's going to be a doable goal? Do you think you're going to be able to attain that? I'm thinking no. If as a child you had the experience of running and you had a parent or a relative standing right there cheering you on, yeah, then that Olympic goal is far more likely for that child than the one that never experienced that before. And it doesn't, like I said, it doesn't have to be that you've experienced that level of success. It just has to be that you've experienced a level of success. So the other piece of this, so we found the subconscious mind issue. We've gone through that work, and a lot of that work I do in my Be a Body Psychic course. And then we've identified what we want, right? We want weight loss, we want pain-free existence, we want to have a lot of money in our lives, etc. We have these two things. How do we get them to communicate? How do we get them to work together? And that is where I developed something called truth talking, because more recently, I think I saw it on a news blurb, how speaking about your emotions and your feelings can help alleviate pain. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. speaking about your emotions. I felt this way when I was ignored when I was 9 years old. I felt this way when I was, going through puberty and, girls were, in a clique and they didn't like me or whatever it is, also doesn't cut it. What cuts it, what starts to get the subconscious brain to acknowledge and maybe believe in those goals as a possible reality, is when you are able to acknowledge your personal truth. And this is a gem, people, your personal truth about the experience in the subconscious mind that's holding you back. When you're able to actively engage with the subconscious mind and speak about your personal truth, hypothetically speaking, let's just say, someone, let's say that little kid who ran a race when they were 5 years old. Let's say there was no one cheering them on. Let's say that they tripped and fell, had a negative experience. Kids were mocking them and making fun of them. And when they got up, they realized that none of their relatives was actually watching them or thought they did a good job. In fact, they missed the whole moment, right? So here you have someone with a set of circumstances where they could have been acknowledged. That's one of the emotions of truth that we really need to deal with. That they were successful, didn't happen. And that their effort in a physical way was a good effort. No, they had kids mocking them. They had a lot of criticism. Okay, so how do you think that person growing up is going to lose weight, not embracing physical activity, their own physical prowess? It's probably not going to work. So what that child has to do now as an adult, if that's the goal, let's just say that's the goal, is the weight loss. The first thing they have to acknowledge is they really, really wanted their parents or their family members to see them do something that they thought was really great. A. B. They would have appreciated a friend come over to help them up when they tripped and had that support instead of being criticized, right? And then the third thing is to not associate that with negativity around physical activity. So that child experiencing that may want to say, as an adult, I wished I had my family members support me better. I wished my friends wouldn't make fun of me, and that maybe acknowledge that that was the best race I had run so far, even though I did trip, and that running the race, I wanted to say that running that race at 5 years old was really fun, but I couldn't because I felt so ashamed, so embarrassed, and that no one really cared. That is why the weight gain happened to begin with, okay? So now we're speaking truth about what that person really wanted to have happen. What that does energetically within the mind and body is it starts to actually break down the barriers towards the goal. We're now addressing that subconscious issue. We're not just trying to change it from a perspective where we are now. We're addressing it. We're giving it a voice, which is all the body mind ever wants to do. That's what God intended, was for our body minds to react as a favorable feedback tool, not the thing that we have to beat up and overcome, not the thing that we have to rule and control. It's the thing that gives us the insight on how to be successful. So now that we're opening this doorway of communication with the subconscious mind, now we can have open conversations, right? We acknowledge on a conscious level what our subconscious mind has been trying to tell us for years and years and years. And now we can talk to it openly. How can we start to feel physically viable and active and feel good about that? How can we express in a way or get in some way the acknowledgement that we really wanted as that 5-year-old child who tripped and fell during the race? How do we get that kind of conscious support from another human being? Now we're getting warm. Now we're getting warmer and warmer towards the goal. Do you see what I'm saying? We have to be able to create these links between mind and body. It's not enough just to tell ourselves, okay, heal. Okay, I don't want any more pain. You're not going to be pain. You're not going to. That is true to a certain extent. Like I said, we have these conscious ability to shift and change our minds and our wills to create a choice that's better for us. But when we feel out of control and we're not engaging on that level because something else is missing, then we have to go back and start addressing that subconscious issue. So then we get into this area of workability. It's no longer a set in stone belief. Now it's a functional kind of like malleable belief. And now we can go back and say, you know what? Maybe there's a part of my limited consciousness, my limited awareness that is not sufficient to treat or heal this subconscious emotion or memory. Let me call in the higher powers. And that's where you ask God to come in. And that's when you ask your angels and your saints and all the ascended masters to come in and help you shift the subconscious subliminal belief into something that is healthy or healed or transform it in some way. Or maybe all you need, because you're a very shy person or a very sensitive person, maybe all you need is just to shift the focus away from that. Yes, we acknowledge you had that experience, but the focus now is how well you can grow a new experience, a new emotion, feel more joy in movement, etc. So this young person or this, maybe 20-year-old person who experienced A, B, C, or D so many years ago, now you have the opportunity to engage that, bring that into the conscious experience now, the personality now, and get it to help you get your goal. Now this is an open conversation. Now the brain starts functioning differently. Now there are different synaptic connections shooting and firing different neurons at different times. And this is a new experience. This is more like the goal experience than the experience of the subconscious mind to begin with. And I'm not the only one who thinks so. I'm a big believer, like I said, of affirmations and mantras and anything that, like I said, the treasure maps in the beginning, anything that will help you get your goal, I'm a big advocate for. However, the one thing that I want to say acutely aware of is our inability and our discomfort with dealing with difficult subconscious emotions. A lot of times I'll give a reading and I'll mention something that was negative in the past, and the person will say, oh, but I dealt with that a long time ago. Well, you dealt with it a long time ago if I can't see it. If I can't see it psychically in you, it means you have, on a level, dealt with it, healed it, moved past it. But if I can see it and it's active in your energetic experience as I'm reading you, then you haven't dealt with it. Excuse me, there's a hair on my face. Then you haven't dealt with it. And it means that it's something that you need to pay attention to. Otherwise, I wouldn't be reading it. And that's the whole point of reading, is to get that insight that in respect to your goal, to get you your goal. So that being said, I would love it if everyone who watched our podcasts on Positive Impact Magazine did a little bit of that soul searching. And, maybe even do the body scan that I have up on my website. You can also text body-mind to 33777 And doing that body scan will help you uncover some of those subconscious blocks that that you may be coming up against when you're trying to lose weight or be pain-free. When I have given this conscious truth talk with clients who are coming out of rehab, either knee surgery or shoulder surgery or wherever, or maybe it's just therapy for increasing range of motion through certain parts of the body. I'll just give you an example. I had worked one day with a woman who was in a car accident, and both her shoulders were injured. I think the shoulder strap on one side and something else was on the other side, but it inhibited both her shoulders. So she wasn't able to raise her arms any higher than about here. And after literally 5 minutes of Reiki and a little truth talking, I asked her, I said, now, can you explore range of motion up above that? And she said, oh, no, it'll hurt too much. And I said, well, let's go up 1 inch. So she went up 1 inch. I said, does it hurt? She goes, no. I go, what do you think? You want to go higher? She's like, slowly her arms went up. Her eyes got huge. And I think she actually got scared because she had spent like 9 months in physical therapy not being able to move her arms. And just that one conversation of truth talking through the shoulders and knowing, I will say that I've created a mind-body map. So I know the shoulders are in relation to relationships, giving love, receiving love, from both significant and intimate relationships, but also significant relationships from the past. So you can imagine your mother, father figures in giving and receiving love, etc. Once we hit the nail on the head of the truth of those relationships, that released it all, and she was able to move her arms again. And that's not the first time. There have been many, many, many times I've worked with people with frozen hip syndrome, again, frozen shoulder syndrome, back pain, neck pain. In every scenario, when we are able to nail the truth of that pain, of the origination of that pain in an emotional sense, we're able to release the energy, and then the person is free to move and be functional. That being said, I'm going to wrap it up today. I hope that helped everyone and in getting your own goals. If you want to follow me at Nicole's MBM on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter, you can also reach me at mindbodymastery.org. And I also have a Mind Body Mastery page on Facebook. So love you guys. Just so much appreciate the opportunity to share stuff like this with you. And I hope if you do have a question, you do reach out. Thanks again. Have a fantastic day. It's gorgeous out there. I'll see you later. Bye.